Episode 166.
Alright, next.
After Liang Fang lost the match and left the arena, Ye Xiu typed out a message to call for the next challenger. This time, the challenger was proactive, heading straight out for a one-on-one duel with Tang Ru. Moments later, the two of them returned. Then he stepped up to challenge Ye Xiu, and so the members of Team Tiny Herb began to repeat the same process. First, they'd go bully the rookie Han Yanru, then come back here to get bullied like rookies themselves by Ye Xiu, losing materials hand over fist. Qi Chuyanzi watched from the sidelines, his heart pounding in his chest. At this point, he could no longer afford to agonize over the lost materials. After all, it was the team's people who left. He had an explanation ready. What truly horrified him now were the 11 members of the team. 6 of them had already fallen to Lord Grimm's hand. How can this guy be so terrifying? What gave Captain Wang Jiexi some comfort was that, despite their string of losses, the team's morale remained remarkably high. Everyone not currently in the match had their headphones off. They watched the match, discussing it with their teammates. Everyone was striving to find a way to defeat Lord Grimm, listening to each other's advice, and searching for their own shortcomings. Each teammate stepping up to the challenge received a flurry of advice from the rest. But even so. Yet from the main roster to the substitutes, the entire team was utterly defeated. No amount of hints could show them a single path to victory. Of the 11, 10 had already fallen. Only their captain Wang Jiexi remained undefeated. Of course, a losing streak like this would leave anyone feeling sour, but the psychological shadow that Wang Jiexi had once feared, it seems it won't be appearing. Everyone was facing victory and defeat with a level head.
Big, IS-1, not going to give it a try.
At that moment, Lord Grimm sent a message, calling out. Hearing that name, the entire Tiny Herb team broke out in a cold sweat. Big Eyes Wang, that was indeed one of their Captain Wang Jiexi's nicknames. Wang Jiexi's eyes were asymmetrical, but unlike most people, it wasn't a case of one drooping eyelid making it look smaller. Instead, one eye was perfectly normal, while the other just looked bigger. So when he first entered the league, this natural oddity earned him the rather unflattering nickname Big-Eyed Wang. Back then, he was still a rookie. The veterans, the senior players, that's basically what they all called him. But now, Wang Jiexi was the captain of Team Tiny Herb. All the old-timers had retired, making him the most senior member left. That nickname hasn't been used in ages. This Ye Qiu Da He. The Tiny Herb players thought bitterly. But as they stewed on it, their anger suddenly fizzled out. The team members couldn't use that nickname for their captain, but as his seniors, they were the ones who always called him by it. Is there anyone in the entire alliance more senior than Ye Qiu? After Ye Xiu called him Big Eyes Wang, the Tiny Herb players were fuming, but they couldn't really say a thing about it. They all pretended not to see their captain's expression, noticing he didn't even flinch at the nickname. So the Tiny Herb players said to each other,
just trash talk, trash talk.
Come on, messaged Wang Jiexi, signaling for Tang Ru's cold mist to follow him out. Tang Ru's soft mist followed him out. With nothing else to do, Ye Xiu sent Tang Ru a message, asking, Did you cry?
What about tears streaming down your face?
Wipe your tears and keep fighting.
Yeah. Ye Qiu could see at a glance that Tang Ru was completely unfazed. His choice had been the right one after all. For a girl like Tang Ru, this method was perfect. Setbacks couldn't knock her down. She was the type who grew stronger with every challenge, and she was sharp, too. Ye Xiu was confident that training with a championship caliber team would lead to significant improvement. As for the other promising prospect, Steamed Bun Invasion, Ye Xiu decided to leave him be for now. Baozi Invasion had a solid gaming foundation, and it was no joke. So, after getting into glory, he had his own unique sense of awareness and judgment. In short, Baozi has his own unique style. In today's pro scene, to chase stable results, Many newcomers have to accept academic-style training. This has led to their technical and tactical skills becoming increasingly rigid, with few new players developing a distinctive style. Especially for players groomed from the ground up by the clubs, like Zhao Yingji, they're practically trying to mold him into another Wang Jiexi. So on that point, Steamed Bun Invasion was even more promising. Though his style might be naive or even a bit foolish, Yi Xiu still looked forward to seeing such a distinctive rookie grow in his own way. That said, Steamed Bun Invasion was just an online acquaintance, not a living, breathing person like Tang Ru. Ye Xiu didn't have a perfect read on Steamed Bun's playstyle yet. It's fine to let him spar with experts, but subjecting him to a relentless, round-robin beatdown like Tang Ru endured, that's a whole other level of cruelty. Even Wang Jiexi feared his pro players would be psychologically scarred by such brutal beatings. How could Yi Xiu dare subject the still unfathomable Steamed Bun Invasion to that kind of baptism?
Well, that should be about it.
After similarly analyzing the duel between Wang Jiexi and Tang Ru, he felt the outcome was already decided. Just as Ye Xiu had predicted, a few seconds later, the two returned, right on cue. Wang Jiexi didn't say another word, taking his blazing flame directly onto the stage.
Your style's changed a bit. The old you would have wrapped this up in about 30 seconds. Being a captain really does make a difference.
Ye Xiu said. Wang Jiexi's character also entered the arena, so the two of them could now use voice chat. Let's begin.
Come on, want me to go easy on you? You've lost 10 in a row. It'd be good for you to win one. Great for morale, a real boost.
I never said I was going to lose.
Sai, you know how it is.
Does trash talk even mean anything?
Of course. Just look at the Huang Xiaoxian.
Wang Jiexi was utterly speechless at that. When it came to trash talk, especially the kind from Wang Xiaoshen's school, it was a sore spot for the entire Tiny Herb team. Tiny Herb were the champions of the previous season, the 7th season of the Glory Pro Alliance, and also the champions of the 5th season. The 6th season championship that stood between those victories was snatched away by Huang Xiaoshen. If not for him, Tiny Herb would already have a 3-peat, establishing another dynasty. But Alice on the road to defending their title. The team's mental fortitude just wasn't up to par. When their high hopes and mounting pressure ran headlong into Huang Xiaoshen's trash talking map, Wide Assault, the team's composure started to crack. That elimination match defeat left them with a bitter taste of injustice, especially since Huang Xiaoshen's Blue Rain team went on to win the championship. This only made them feel even more aggrieved. This was a particularly painful chapter in Team Tiny Herb's history. Now, Ye Xiu was deliberately bringing this up to make a point. That's trash talk. Wang Jiexi made a silent assessment. He collected his thoughts and fell silent, fully immersing himself in the match.